All right, testing everybody. Here we come. We're about to come in hot. All right, let's switch this camera on. Hey everybody, here we are. Hold on, let me just turn down the volume on my other computer. Getting a little bit of a double thing going on there. Hey everybody, my name is Abe Duque. I am who I am. I have been a lot of things, but these days I'm an educator. I teach people how to, do all sorts of things. I am an instructor at 343 Labs, which is a school that we've started about a year and a half ago now here in New York City. And now we have a place in Berlin, which is really cool. We have physical classes going on there. We have physical classes going on in New York. So we're just trying to move ahead and get things going. We're here every day at about 1 p.m. or at 1 p.m. We stream about all sorts of things related to music production, recording, dealing with DAWs, dealing with ideas and how to be creative, and theory. We have a theory class that or a stream that Max does on Thursdays. So we're here today to do my thing. My thing is these days, what is my thing? My thing is production basics. My show is basically called Basics. But this iteration or this kind of cycle of the show, we're doing a few episodes on production. And last week we began this one, and we'll go on for a few more weeks, at least a month's worth of this, maybe more. We'll see how it goes. All right, so I could see people are joining in the chat. Well, the chat is getting pretty busy pretty quickly, which is really cool because I really like it when you guys are here to hang out with me. Remember, as I've told you in the past, I really, really need these questions that you might have, or these topics or something that you want me to comment on, because it keeps me engaged with you and it keeps me on the same page with you, kind of giving you what you need from me. I really want to make this, as much as we can, make it into a conversation where you and I can both can share ideas and really do some learning. Do some learning here. All right, so let's see who's in the chat. We have, Pseudo Pulse. Hello from Lewiston, Maine. Can't wait for another 343 Labs live stream. Wow, right on. Frank Rhodes. Hello from New York City. Hello back from New York City. I am in New York City. I'm in Hollis, Queens right now, in my studio here in Hollis, Queens. Robert Dharma. What would a live stream be without Robert Dharma? I have the Rat song, Lay It Down, stuck in my head. Good to know. Don't do this to me, because now I'm going to think about that and I'm going to avoid trying to put that in my head. Maybe I'll have that stuck for the rest of the week. And sometimes I get songs stuck in my head for days straight, which is not a very cool thing. Okay. Jonathan Rodriguez says hello to everyone. Hello, Jonathan. Todd Bone. Hey. He says, hey, Abe. Lisa G. Which DAW are we using today? Well, it's I think we're going to just stick with Ableton. It's more about, it's not really this part of my class is not really DAW specific. It's more DAW agnostic. It's really more about talking about how to approach this whole idea of production. Maybe giving you some insights into like what I've done in the past, and what has worked for me and what has not worked for me. From time to time, I'm going to bring in somebody to call in and maybe join and talk about their experiences. And by somebody, I don't mean just some random guy like my neighbor across the street or something like that. I mean, I'm going to try to bring in accomplished producers, people that have been doing this for a while, that have a lot of experience in doing so. If you don't know about my history, I've started my production career in the late 80s. I started working with uh, some really cool producers. There was a production super team at that time made of two guys. One guy is Gene LaFosse, and the other guy's name was Victor Calderon, which he's still pretty active right now. And actually, Victor's a superstar. And I was allowed to come into the studio and hang in there, hang out with those guys, and learn, just by kind of just sitting in the corner quietly for a while. And then slowly I got more involved and was able to add, play keyboards. So I was able to like play keyboards in some of the productions. And eventually I learned how to put a studio together there, and how to go about trying to produce a track. And slowly I started to get everything ready. And if you think about those days, today you're living in a golden era of like being able to to express yourself musically. In those days you really needed to, I don't know, spend a couple of years maybe trying to collect enough gear so that you could have a demo. So you get a little mixer, and then you get like maybe a little effect unit, and maybe a pedal or something like that. And then you manage to get, if you could get a sampler. Oh my goodness! I remember my first sampler I got in 1987. It was like it's an amazing story tied to that. One day I'll tell you guys the story. But I got the equipment together, and finally by the end of the 80s, I got my first credits at some records. And in the early 90s, I started my own production career with my own, and started my own labels at the same time. Had a lot of success in the 90s, had a lot of success in the beginning of the 2000s. Really kind of climbed to a very high place, but then got to a point where I thought, kind of tired of traveling, and maybe want to have some kids or a family. So the opportunity to come and teach happened at this place called Dubspot. And well, then I've been teaching since then. But I had a pretty long couple of decades long career in production and in touring and in doing everything from running labels to being on labels to producing for other big people. I produced for the Chemical Brothers. I produced for Moby. I produced for Miss Kitten. I produced for who else? There's been quite a lot of big acts that the Pet Shop Boys asked me to do their last album. It was a big deal for a while, my whole production career. But now I'm actually in my happiest stage, which I'm in my teaching stage, because it's a really rewarding period of my life. So a little bit of history on what I've been, what brings me here, and what makes me qualified to talk about production. Anyway, let's look into the chat, see if anybody's talking about anything else at this point. Let's see. Liso G, cool. I use Ableton 2. Looking forward. And all right, so let's keep this party rolling. So last week we got into talking about like the production mindset. Like, what do you kind of have to have clear in your head before you decide to actually go and make some music. And just to recap a bit, we talked about having a sense of clarity, or being clear about what you want to make and the reasons why you want to make it, and some goals and expectations that you're trying to match. And we discuss everything around that. So now we're ready. Now we've kind of have an idea of exactly what we want to make. Oh, look at John Selway. John Selway's on there. John, if you wanted to call in at any time, you know how to reach. My Skype is open, and you could just drop in and talk to us about anything you want. In the future, I was thinking of making it accessible to more people, so that people could just come in and kind of be guests on my show, impromptu. But yeah. So as I was saying, now you're ready. Now you're ready to drop and make some awesome beats, right? Or amazing music. Let's talk about some of the things that go through my head when I'm at that in this position. So I have a lot of notes here. I really wrote down a bunch of stuff. But let's start, and I even tried to do some graphics here. So I'm learning to try to be a better streamer on a daily. And let me show you what I got. So I got some text here. So my first point should come up right now. Yeah, here we go. And my first point is to be prepared to use your talent. And what do I mean by that? what do I mean by be prepared to use your talents? Now, it's funny because I can move this around wherever I want. I can put it up here or down here. Let's put it down there for a little bit. So yeah, be prepared to use your talents. Meaning, you play piano, let's say. Well, have your keyboard set up. You sing. Well, have all the things that go into that setup. So be prepared to use your talents. And for example, let me just keep going here. Set up your keyboard, set up your controller, set up microphones if that's what you need to have. Basically, you really need to be doing is, I'll move this over here, is to set up some stations. Set up stations. Look, I'm filling the the text everywhere, which is really funny. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, so bear with me, guys. Pseudopulse says, "Hey, hello, John. Thank you for your series on 343 Labs. I watched every episode along with the ones that with Abe as well. A big fan from you way back, and yeah, we all fans of John Selway. John Selway is yeah, he's my hero." So, John, still available if you want to call in and say hello to everybody. All right. So, what we're talking about now, we're talking about getting set up to be able to capture everything. So, meaning you wanna set up a station. You want to have everything kind of ready to go. You want to have things. You want to have things so that you don't have to fish around or look around to set things up. Now imagine you get this amazing idea. You're a singer. You get an amazing idea, and you're ready to like drop it and record it. You're just so inspired, right? And suddenly you realize you have to go get your mic, but your mic, you left it upstairs. Okay, so you go upstairs, you go get it. Now, oh wait, the cable for the preamp is not ready. Oh, let's get that preamp set up, or maybe I'll just plug it right into the audio interface. Okay, that's kind of working, but all right, now that works. But wait, where's my pop protector, or where's whatever? And then by the time you get all that done, even if it's just a few minutes, 3 or 4, but most of the time that turns into, like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes of whatever. And you come back and suddenly the inspiration is evaporated. I always like to say that inspiration is like pouring some alcohol on the table. And you're like, oh, I spilled some alcohol. Let me go get a rag to pick it up. You go get a rag, and by the time you come back, like, oh, it's gone. And it evaporates. Inspiration evaporates. So be ready to harness all your inspiration. So set up your piano keyboard, set up your mic, develop some stations, set up everything perfectly. Know your technique, so that your technical parts of everything, so that you're very aware of what exactly you're doing. Once you got that set up, then you're ready to roll. Now, you can lay things down and get going, but a lot of times inspiration comes in a very kind of well, you just get a big pack of inspiration, like it's just a big feeling that you're inspired, but you don't have like detailed inspiration, like every word that you're going to say or every note that you're going to play isn't there. So you'll need to kind of funnel all that inspiration into one point and take that and roll with it. Okay, let's see what's going on in the set. I get distracted by the chat here. John Selway says, "Oh, shot guys, thanks." Okay. Pseudopulse says, "I'm a big fan of you as well, Abe." Oh, thank you. Caesar, is that right, Caesar? Hi there, guys. Hello, Caesar. Hey, guys, this would be a good time for you guys to hit the like button because it'd be nice to like kind of feel appreciated. Or actually, if you don't like what I'm saying, be bold and hit the dislike button, because that's cool too. And write your comments in the comments section. If you have things to say, if you think that I could make the show better in any way, if there's something that I could do to to kind of tone up the show or set up the show in a way that's better for everybody, please leave me the comments in there, or something that I'm not doing, that I could be doing, an idea of some sort. This would be super awesome. So please do that. Scott Vincent says, thanks for the good analogy regarding inspiration evaporating. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it really is that way. You all know this. You all know this. You feel inspired, but you gotta take it there, because if not, something will happen. You get a bad phone call. You see just whatever, something on TV. Oh, look at that! Suddenly you're watching something and it's gone. Distractions, are very easy to come by these days. We all have a distraction that we live with, that is we're slaves to, which is our phones. These distractions are responsible for some, of the most atrocious moments in creativity, because they're gone because of them. All right. So again, give me some likes, give me some dislikes, subscribe. That's another one. Please subscribe. Trying to get. I keep on joking, and I know it's a big joke. I always say this joke that we're trying to get 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. I mean, obviously not. And the second part of the joke is that we say that we're doing it to get our boss Max happy. Obviously, we're not going to get to 1 million, but if we could just get to 100,000, that would be awesome. Anyway, let's keep going there. We really want to reach out to everybody. We want to make this a big thing. We want to make this a big kind of a tribe of like-minded producers and people that are interested in doing all this stuff. Okay, so let's go to my next point. And let's see. So my next point would be, here we go, his text. Let's make it real big. Allow yourself to freely experiment. Let's put it right there in the center. Allow yourself to freely experiment. So when I was talking about earlier about, that inspiration sometimes comes in a pack, like a big bundle of inspiration. And it's not very specific all the time. Sometimes it's super specific, but sometimes it's just like a bunch of shadows of inspiration or things like that you need to kind of to harness somehow. So what I say is that don't be afraid of that. Allow yourself to freely experiment, to just let yourself go and try different things. Great thing about these days and the way that we use our DAWs is that, it doesn't cost us any money to lay ideas down. Not so when I started. When I started my career, it cost a lot of money to lay ideas down. And what do I mean by that? Well, back in the 80s, we didn't have computers that recorded audio. We had magnetic tape, and the magnetic tape would be, 2-inch magnetic tape that would have 24 channels kind of parsed out on the tape. And you could record onto the magnetic tape your ideas. And the tape itself at that time, one reel would have been $200. $200 would have been enough for maybe 2 or 3 tracks max. And when you used it and reused it, it lost quality. It became, it just, I don't know if you guys have ever played with cassettes. The best recording you're going to get on a cassette is the first time that you record. The next time you actually record, it's going to be, you could even hear kind of remnants of the first recording kind of playing kind of very muffled in the background. And this would happen in magnetic tape. So people were very guarded and very, very, very on point about what they actually laid down as an idea. You could make an argument that would be a way to promote a very kind of in the moment sort of feeling about the working the workflow of the time, and we can go there. But let's forget about that and just concentrate on what we have, which is we have unlimited possibilities now for laying down our ideas. It doesn't cost us any money. We can actually do and record what we'd like. And what by that I mean is just do 1 million takes if you have to make 1 million takes when you first start. Let's see what we have. La Nouvelle Hi, Abe and John. Setup always ready with touch of a couple buttons. Record inspirations on voice memos and music memos on iPhone. These can be dragged into DAW for reference. Awesome point that you can actually use those devices which were slaves of to kind of just help us, and you can immediately just record ideas in there, and if they're texts you can just say them. If they're sung, you could just sing them. If they're just musical parts, you can maybe try to hum them. I don't have such a great singing voice, so I'm not sure that that's going to work out for me. And it's a matter, of trying to use it as a take. But then anyway, it's just at least as a placeholder, and it reminds me of what's going on. Another thing that I really like to have is, like, I always have these books that I can write into, which I keep nearby for all sorts of reasons. What's in here is all sorts of things. It's sometimes it's my diary, dear diary, and sometimes it's my shopping list, and sometimes it's my laying down your ideas thing for today. I don't know if you could see that there. All right. So even pen and paper is super awesome for this type of action. So yeah. So what we have here is tape degradation. Yes, tape degradation is a thing. Old cassettes aging like fine wine. Yeah, old cassettes are awesome. I mean, they will age really nicely. I have a huge box of like old cassettes that I collected from all the way back to the '80s, and they still, I have have an old car that has a tape deck in it, and sometimes I pop one in and I'm like, oh wow, look at that. And it sounds great. It doesn't sound bad at all. And you'd think, I think I'd actually rather have tapes than old CDs, because old CDs kind of deteriorate. They just kind of break down for some reason. Anyway, Lavelle says, can I also tap out or vocalize basics and drag into DAW? I don't know. I guess that's a statement, not a question. Yes. All right. So let's keep it moving here. I do want to get to showing you some of the stuff I have here. So let me just switch to my overhead and let you have a look. So I'm already set up. I have a station here where I'm set up with I have a little controller here, which my face is over. I could move my face out of the way and put it somewhere over here so that you guys can see my controller. Whoa! Sorry, everybody. That's John Selway calling in. I hope nobody got hurt there. Seems to be John Selway's mic is really loud. So let me just let's see if we can get John in on the action here. John, are you there? Sorry, John. Well, thought I heard him call in. If he's there, then we can do this. If not, we'll wait and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, let me continue to show you my little setup. So I have this going, and I have my my Ableton going. Sorry, let me get my Ableton in the screen for you guys. And I have my Ableton going, and I can start my Ableton, and that should get my stuff started here as well. So I have no parts written here, but I can start writing down some parts. But let's just get over there. I have more notes and things to talk about, but let me just start to show you some stuff. So I have also more gear, and I have a camera that I can flip around and show you more gear. So my voice might get a little bit far away as I'm trying to move my mic near, but let's get my overhead going here. So here's my okay, John seems to be calling again, so I'm going to try to see if John is there. Let's see, John, if you're there, let us know. If not, I'll let you go. Anyway, in the meantime, back to my DAW. I mean, sorry, to my setup. So I have a TT303, which is a 303 emulator. Really love this thing. I'm ready to use my APC40 if I have to control some stuff with Ableton. I have a couple of handy synths here that I can jump into. I have my TR8 over there, which I use as a sync box and or a way to input notes. Some sounds in there. It's really convenient. It has a lot of really cool classic Roland drum machines built into it, and it's all good. And then let's see if I could just move this thing around. Oops, I have over here. Yes, that's gonna have to do. That is my 909, and my 909 is running right now, but there's nothing in there, so I think it's ready to now I've added a bass drum, which is really cool. So I got a bass drum for my 909, and let's add another bass drum, and we have some 909 action. Tweak that. So this would be typical. I'd be feeling really inspired and really ready to get into some cool writing stuff, and I'll have a drum machine ready to go. Now I have a 4 on the floor. Now I'm a lot of the time, I'd say 80% of my career made somewhere between house and techno. So a 4 on the floor kind of helps me get in the mood, if you will. I have this 303 here, which I can now start programming. It is actually running and ready for me to program. And this is the reason that I like this the TT303. It's over here. It's because I can now play some notes in there and get some stuff going. And suddenly I got a bass line going. So I'm inspired right now, or at least I'm saying I'm inspired right now. But I'm trying to, come up with some ideas. So I'm gonna add some accents and maybe some slides and maybe some up and downs, meaning up octaves and down octaves. Now, my idea, I was thinking, what do I want to make in this stream today? And I thought I'd make a bass line from a 303, a track based on that has a 303 style bass line, but it doesn't necessarily sound like acid. So you can use the bass line on the 303 as just really a way to get a bass line going. So I'm gonna feel maybe that. So I'm gonna just write over it a little bit. If I go silent and you just watch me work, that it's because I'm just trying to get in the zone. And sometimes I like to harness the power of chaos. Because, and what do I mean by that? Well, there's a feature on this thing where I can mutate the part, meaning I have notes that are in there already that I've inputted, and some functions that I've added to it. And now I can kind of randomize those within what I actually put in there. So let me try this. So now it's just a little bit different. See, just a little bit different. If I do it a couple of times, none of this stuff is making me happy. So I'm gonna just clear. Sorry, I have to put it in edit mode to clear it. I'm gonna clear everything and start again. And here we go. That's more like it. I'm going to erase the... There we go. Again, I really just want to have... I'll make it a little louder so that try the different waveforms. So this is more the idea. I just want to have like a acid style bass line, but not like this chirping acid that's, you know, overwhelming. It could just be that, and it could just stay static. All right, in the meantime, let's get some more stuff happening here with my 909. Here we go. Let's get some hi-hats. Whoa, there's hi-hats in there already. So let's get rid of those hi-hats. So somewhere, but I'm just right on top of them. Let's do tap. Okay, I'm feeling that. Okay, so foundation. Now I'm feeling good because I have something I can bop to. I can bop my head to and get going. In the meantime, let's take a little breather here and talk to you guys for a second. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Sorry, John, you weren't able to join us. I tried, but didn't work for some reason. We had this problem connecting last time for some reason with Skype. Anyway, let's look at the chat. Let's see if there's anything you guys have been talking about. Sorry, the Skype is having issues. Yes, we've noticed. Nice gear. Thank you. I've been, it's been my life, basically. Let's see. Avon says, damn, that bass wave was first try spot on. Yeah, that's the thing. I should have just probably kept the first thing, but you think maybe it's going to get better. And a lot of times the first cut is the deepest. You know, you ever heard of that? The first cut is the deepest. And yeah, it probably better off to like grab everything that I have in there. Matter of fact, let's do that because I'm going to erase all my bass line and I'm going to kind of practice what I preached earlier about recording in and just gathering in a bunch of stuff. And then we could do that with Ableton pretty easily. Let me just continue to see what's in the chat now. Camera's losing focus on my face. Sometimes the camera goes a little buggy and I have to switch the mode that it's in. There we go. That'll work. Hopefully it stays that way. All right. So, just looking at the chat. Yeah, chaos is what we want. Yes, chaos is what we live for. Chaos rules. I made a track called Chaos Rules once because of that. The kick's a bit loud. Yeah, it's a bit loud for now. I mean, we're not in the mixing stage of it. We haven't even recorded anything. We're just kind of just playing it. So we can lower that. We will lower that. Now, Selway says, sometimes worrying about the mix gets in the way of capturing your ideas. Thank you, Selway. That's what I was thinking. It's fun to forget the rules and get into the moment. And that's basically what I'm trying to do right now. But in the meantime, I'm trying to run a whole stream looking at you guys' comments, talking to you guys in the camera, making sure everything's running correctly and being inspired and being as amazing as I can be. But hey, we try, right? Anyway, let me say, guys, it's about halfway point. Really thank you guys for joining me. I see you guys here that I've seen before. I see some of you I see every week. That's a very humbling thing to see somebody come and want to kind of visit with you every week. It makes you feel very warm inside. I really appreciate you guys hanging in here, visiting with me, getting busy in the chat. I'm still waiting for some questions. I'm down to talk about questions at any time. And please again subscribe. please hit the like button, all that fun stuff. And let me talk to you a little bit about 343 Labs. It's our school. We run a school, which this is what we do. We're not streaming. We teach classes. A lot of our classes are online right now. Actually, when the P word hit, we went directly on the internet. We were all kind of set up to go already, which was really convenient for us. And we've been killing it in classes online. And we have classes to cover almost every one of your needs. We have excellent instructors, very experienced instructors, and we teach everything from Ableton, Logic, music theory, synthesis, mixing and mastering. I hope I'm not forgetting something. We have a whole slew of classes beginning always. Please go to our website so you could see what's coming, both for online classes and for classes that happen in person. Go to 343labs.com. If you're in Germany, you can go to 343labs.de. And you could see the schedule there for classes. It's actually going really well in Germany. We're really happy with what's happening there. And you could also check out on both. I think you could check out the listings for all the online classes that we offer as well. Come and visit us. Take a class with us. Take a class with me. I love teaching Ableton. I love teaching mixing and mastering. That's my number one topic for me to discuss. So be sure to check us out and see if you want more of this stuff, and have a more kind of detailed and kind of planned out experience for something specific. Come and join us for a class. All right, we have some chat action here. TWD Industries, I was wondering where you were, because TWD Industries is always here. Does your personal workflow follow the ABR, always be recording philosophy, or do you sometimes enjoy the ephemeral nature of unrecorded jam? I could talk for hours about that. Always be recording. That's great. It wasn't possible in those days where you couldn't be always recording because you just couldn't afford it because the magnetic tape would have cost too much money. But once now things are set up, I think that always be recording. There's some pitfalls to that as well, and one of the pitfalls to it is that you have a lot of material to go through if you're always recording. So sometimes I got this Apollo 16 recently. It's one of my latest acquisitions. I've got this Apollo 16, and I was able to now. I have this set up also on my mixers on my Eurorack, where they can break out into dB25, which will let me have every channel kind of individually recorded into the computer. And I've done that before also in other setups. And what ends up happening is that you get a bunch of stuff recorded. But now, let's say you record 16 channels at once. Now you got to spend 16 times that amount of time curating every single one of those long recordings. So that could be something that you get bogged down in. And so you got to kind of be a little bit more, smarter maybe about the way you approach that always be recording. Now, I think I'm more of the philosophy of always be ready to record. That way you're always ready to capture something. Let me just do a little bit of that. So let's get back to my setup here. Somehow my 909 went upside down for some reason. Let's see if I could just flip that camera for a second. Camera effects, and just hold on. Rotate 180. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so let's bring in to my 303 here, my setup here, and let me just start playing again my DAW. And that's the, wait a second. Did my main camera disappear altogether? No, there it is. Okay. For some reason, my main camera has become the overhead, and that's why it was flipped. All right, guys. See, this is the technical stuff that I'm talking about. So let me just bring back my my main camera. All right. So back to the overhead, and back to, well, maybe the overhead, and so I'm gonna clear everything that's going on in here. And I just have that one pattern going on. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my DAW and maybe show my DAW and my overhead at the same time. And now I'm going to get ready to record into one of these channels. So hopefully I can manage that. So let's see, that would be, gonna find a channel to be learner. Device set up, so let me set up my device correctly. Let's confirm the universal audio, and what channel is actually being, okay, that was 15 and 16. Yeah, 15 and 16 are going, so I'm gonna take that out of there, and then I'll have my 303 ready to record. Oh, even that, look, I just made something, and it just seemed to be really cool for like just a in-place bass line. So really okay to do the following. I'm gonna just get ready to like just record it right in there, and I just hit record, and I'm just gonna forget that record is happening, and then at the very least, I have whatever I'm doing right now kind of captured in there. And I could tweak it to different positions. And maybe change the waveform. That's pretty cool. I have that one take, and because it's one take, and I'm not gonna write any more notes on this take. I'm just gonna stop recording there, and then I'm gonna have that. But now I'm gonna take that and allow myself to play with it, so that I can do things like change the notes like this. And now it's completely something different, and maybe I don't like it as much anymore. So let me add some other notes in it. Remember, I'm trying to just get a bass line out of this. Oh, that's nice. See, simple, nice, and right to the point. It doesn't scream acid to you. It just screams bass line. Very nice bass line. So here we go. Getting that down. And maybe I'll change the waveform. Oh, that's nice in that waveform as well. So I'll capture that one. Okay, good to go there. Now let's tweak that around. And maybe mutate it. Not bad. I'm going to record that mutated version. Now, we can do this all day, and often I have. But the point of doing this is that you kind of remember to give yourself limits, even with this part of the whole thing. So don't let yourself, continue to do this for so long that it's like record while you're what is it? What was it? The ABR that TWD Industries was talking about. Always be recording because you don't want to end up with 300 parts and then have to choose. When you feel that you've gotten something that's decent, and which I already felt on the first one, like I could actually almost get down with the first one and be good with it, then just learn to keep it. So some of my other points moving forward are, here we go. Here's the one that I just discussed. Give yourself some time limits. I'll make this real big. Give yourself time limits. So limit the amount of time you're going to spend in any activity. Like if you're going to go jamming, don't let yourself just jam the whole day, because you'll just become you know, a jam session and you won't get anything else done. If you have a goal in mind that goes beyond just jamming, if jamming is your goal, then it's okay. But if you have a goal in mind that goes beyond jamming, then hey, maybe you should give yourself some limits. And I know people that work with like clocks, and you know, and train themselves to work with clocks, and it's an interesting way of approaching production, which is like you like get yourself like an hourglass or something, or just set like a 10-minute marker, so that you can, all right, I'm going to record bass lines for 10 minutes, boom, and then you just do whatever you can, go nuts, go whatever in 10 minutes, and then stop, and then evaluate and see and curate and see what you have, and if you have anything that's worth keeping. Because again, we don't want to end us up in a place where it's just full of clutter. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna just keep on reading what you guys have for me, which is, let's see. Pseudopol says, what do you do when you are in the middle of producing a track and you either lose the inspiration or the track is stale? Do you scrap it, or do you try to revitalize the track or push forward? Well, I think pushing forward might be the better idea, because I find that more than half of the time that you're in this so-called state that where you've described, you happen to be there because you're not, because the material isn't good, but because your perception of the material has soured somehow. Maybe because of so many reasons. Maybe you've just heard it too many times. Maybe you're not confident anymore, and you think, "Huh, who am I to, like, you know, say that this is cool?" Maybe you've just you know, maybe so many things can happen. Time will do that to you. No matter how awesome something is, if you hear it 100 million times, you're gonna hate it. I like to tell people, you know, I teach a lot of production classes, and in those classes, this subject comes up often when people are in the situation that they're making tracks, and they're making tracks, and they're working so much on one track, and they're just days and days and days of this track, and then they end up in a place where they start not liking it. That is a dangerous place to be, but it's not the worst place to be, because at this point, at least you don't like it. Because what comes after that, if you keep going and if you don't stop and like you reevaluate and let yourself kind of refresh and hit you know, a reset button in your head, you'll end up in the position where you don't know if you like it or if you hate it. You just don't have, you're ambivalent towards it. That's actually the worst place to be in. So to learn to limit your time so that you can be in a place where you are very you know, still clear that you like it or you hate it, but preferably like it. But if you get to the point where you don't know, oh, hit all the brakes and jump out of there, because you're not doing anybody any favors by going on in there. Okay, this week's streams are sponsored by Ableton. Enter your info in the following link. As I'm reading this off the chat, I think Thomas puts this in there as a 343 Labs, and get a chance to win a $200 voucher. $200 voucher for Ableton. And I don't know, when is the giveaway. I don't know. Maybe at the end of the week. I guess it would be the end of the week. Whoa, we're at the end of the week. What's the story? Winner will be announced live on the air tomorrow during John Selway's stream. That's what it says. I should have just read on. Okay, so John Selway's stream is tomorrow. John Selway will be doing his techno show tomorrow. Not tacos, but techno, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Wanted to get John in here to discuss a little bit of that, but we had some Skype technical issues. Tim says that bass could move a dance floor. I hope so. I really do. Robert Dharma says, don't scream acid in the crowded dance floor. Tim says again, unless you want to make friends. Yeah. Okay. Time boxing is a good idea. And that's referring to, I guess, what we're talking about, you know, putting yourself in a time box. All right. So, let's see, what time is it? Oh wow, this stream is flying by. I had so much left for you guys. So let me just keep on going here. I have more text that I want to kind of show you guys. So here's my learn to be decisive thing. So now once you're like recording and getting past that stage of like, okay, now I got all this material. Now we have to switch into like a very decisive producer mode, meaning that we are now going to be very cruel about our decisions. So it takes a clearing of the mind. It takes a kind of agnostic approach, which is hard to make the separation sometimes with your material, because a lot of times you love the material so much. But I'll tell you that the most accomplished musicians or producers, let's say producers, that I've ever met, the most accomplished producers that I've ever met have been so decisive. They have had laser focus clarity about what they want and what they don't want, and they can get things done super fast. I sometimes I learned a lot from a very established producer and artist named DJ Hell, and I produced this album for him and 10 years ago or so, or maybe a little more, called New York Muscle. And in the studio, I was shocked by how fast the production would move forward. We could finish almost the whole track in a day, because he had these clear, yeah, we're keeping that. No, we don't want that. Take that out. Put that in. Boom. And I'd be like, I'd be trying to keep up, getting and continuing to make it happen. And at the end of the session, I'd be like, wow, this came together really fast. And you know what? That pays off more. To have something come together really fast is the biggest payoff you could have, regardless. Because sometimes we'll spend forever on something and never actually commit to anything. And then at the end of the day, we'll end up in that zone that I talked to you about, where you don't know if you like it or not. And then it never gets, released or talked about, or it gets forgotten. And we don't want that. So yeah, learn to be decisive. And as I said also earlier, keep yourself in a state of clarity. I love my little text stuff that I can play with now. Keep yourself in a state of clarity. Keep yourself ready to make a decision based on exactly targeted, laser focused ideas. Okay. What else? Let's see if I have some other things in here before I go on. Oh, so yeah, once you do that, so let's go to my DAW, and we'll go in here. And now I have these parts in here. I can mute the original 303, and I guess I can just play the ones from in here now. And somehow it's only coming out on one side. Maybe because I just have a loose cable there. And that was the first one, and for me it's still the coolest one. I'm just playing with that cable that's loose. That's pretty awesome part. I mean, it's so simple, but it does what all this stuff is. I could already tell that even though these are cool bass lines, what I was really looking forward to was just having a simple, very low bass line out of a 303. And you know what? I'm just going to do what I said. I'm just going to keep that one part. And that's my part. And I'm even going to just, relegate it to like 8 bars of that. And whatever changes that happen there, maybe I'll tap into that later. But right now, that's it. That's my bass line now. It modulated a little bit in the beginning, so I'm going to maybe close it up to even just maybe 4 bars. And that's my bass line for now. And now I can build on that. I can write more parts on that. That's exactly what I want out of it. I could now start to tweak it. I could start to process it. I could even do something called rinsing, which is really a powerful technique, which means that you start to, maybe cut it up and maybe reverse parts of it, add special effects to it, and re-record it and put it back in. But I want to keep it simple. I want to keep it rocking. And it's funny that it happened just, quickly without me even thinking about it. But hey, sometimes things go like that. And that's amazing, because that's exactly what I wanted to illustrate to you guys. Now I've made the decision, and I've been merciless about the way that I've I've gotten rid of the other stuff. I don't care. The other stuff can go away. This is just going to keep me on point with what the idea I had was going to be, and that's it. Over. So so yeah, I'm glad that that happened that way. So don't have any more of these text things. That I want to use them all before. But yeah, there was this one, learn to rinse, because I wanted to talk about rinsing, which is, just being able to run the part and chop it up and run effects through it and re-record it and do that. We'll probably go through that another time. Too bad we only have 1 hour here to kind of fool around with this stuff. And then my last point, as I have it written down here, was get organized. To get organized. So very early on in the whole thing, as we have, our DAW set up here, we need to come in here and already, have everything tagged and colored correctly. So I'll have 303 bass, and then I'll, make sure that maybe my 303 is going to be yellow, just because acid and yellow, And then, all the other parts as they come in here, I want to keep them labeled. Even one cool thing, one Ableton tip that a lot of people don't realize is that you have this info little view here. And let's say I have this clip in here and I want to write myself a little story about the clip. So I can come in here and edit the info text. And then I could write happened by accident and whatever, and whatever other text that I want to write in there. I'm writing a bunch of crap. And now every time that I kind of move my mouse over that little clip, I'm going to have that happen by accident and all that other stuff kind of showing me what I need to remember about that part. So keeping yourself organized at this point is amazing, because now, we're going to start to add things on, and you want to be adding these things on and having them fall right into their place, meaning the organization is right. Now, I could also talk to you about, if in my classes, I teach people to mix and master, and those people that go through my classes, I also teach them to go ahead and start to apply all the things that are about mixing and mastering to their parts. To their song. So in this case, I'd start with, if I needed any reductive EQ or if I needed any compression, I would probably already start to take care of that, especially with freshly recorded parts, before the tracks kind of started to meet each other. Just so the point is that by the time you get to having a pretty, set up, track, most or at least half of the tedious work that is mixing and mastering will already be kind of done and taken care of. All right, so let's see what is going on here in the chat. Let's see. Caesar says, I've been producing for the last year, and some that I hear all the time is that less is better. Less is always better in music, especially when it comes to parts and mixing. I always play the game once I have a full arrangement, is to see what can I take out without losing any impact to the whole mix. And I'm always surprised that I could probably always, even as sparse as I try to keep myself, I could always take out at least 30% of what's in there and still have an impact, and even a better impact, because the mix sounds better, parts are more noticeable, things mean more. Less is definitely more. Avon says, do you keep going on producing ideas, or there's a time you're like, I gotta do some mixing. Sometimes I get stuck in my mixing stage a lot. Yeah, no, we just talked about that. We kind of mix, or we start the preliminary prep work for every track that, if you come to my classes, you'll see I'm big on setting up a whole scheme for how to get people to start mixing. But we set up the preliminary, we lay it all down, all the prep work, that by the time you get to a finished track, the tedious part of the mixing, meaning the stuff that is just really boring to do, reductive EQ and all that stuff, that's all taken care of. Now you're doing like the fun mixing, the additive stuff, the enhancer work, all that stuff that's gonna, give depth to the mix and stuff like that. But sometimes you get stuck in that part as well. I mean, mixing is part of the writing process for you. It can inspire you to keep on going. So anything that can inspire you to keep on going in the process is definitely very important to keep going. And okay, and then La Nouvelle put some hearts in there. Thank you for that. Anyway, we've run out of time. It's 2:00 now. I'm sorry, but we'll have to go. But we'll be back next week. I'll be back next week. I'll try to have somebody with me this next week so that we can, we can maybe tap into somebody else's workflow, and we can keep this going. But thanks everybody for once again. Really, thank you so much for coming and sitting with me and visiting with me for this hour on your day here. Let me get rid of this here, and thank you so much for checking out our videos. Maybe you can come and visit us one day and take a class with us at 343 Labs. And remember to please like if you like what you see, and please subscribe. And I'll see you next week. All right, take care.